Welcome back to my channel for a short lens review, and the lens I want to review is a lens from TTArtisan, and it is a lens in this particular case for Nikon Z cameras, and it's a 40mm focal length we have here. Widest open is an f2.0, and in this video I want to have a look at this lens, want to discuss quickly the specifications, and of course also show you some sample images. Let's kick this off. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so, subscribe, hit the notification bell, support my work. Many thanks for that. Now, why would we consider buying a 40mm f2.0 lens from TTArtisan if we have that capability already in the native lens lineup in the Nikkor Z universe? Because we have that lens here. And we even have the special edition lens. And I have a couple of videos of these lenses on my channel, which I post the link down below in the info box so you can look this up. Well, I think there are two main arguments which I personally find quite convincing, and one argument, in my opinion, is even stronger. And the first argument is pricing. This lens here came down in pricing in the Nikon web store to about $200. So for 200 bucks, you can buy this lens in the Nikon online store. This lens here from TTArtisan has now a price tag of $134. And I have really no idea how companies can make lenses with this build quality for a price tag of $134 and still make profit. But that's a different story. And I think the first argument, pricing, is a good one. So 134 versus $200, but the more convincing argument for me is that this is a lens with a super high build quality. This one here is a plastic lens. It's not very well done in terms of build quality, although it gets the job done. As I said, I reviewed this lens and the SE lens some time back on my channel. These are really good lenses. The image quality is really good. And for Nikon Z shooters who need to watch their budget, this is an absolutely fantastic lens. But astonishingly enough, the TTArtisan lens in terms of build quality is much better in my opinion. And the first reason, very big reason, is this is a full metal construction here. It's a metal chassis and it feels very valuable in hand. It doesn't feel at all like a $134 lens. And the second aspect here in terms of build quality is that you have here an aperture ring. And that aperture ring is nice. And by the way, its build quality and its clicks are also very beautiful. Listen to the sound. I think this sounds really good. It sounds like the clicks of the aperture ring of recent G Master lenses I bought for my Sony Alpha 1 Mark II. And this metal construction feels good in hands. Even the lens hood here is very valuable and very well built. And the lens also sits solid like a rock on the lens mount of the camera body of my Nikon Z8 here. There's absolutely no play between the lens and the lens mount, and it's almost like melted into the camera body. So all in, a really good construction, and with this aperture ring, clearly in terms of features, build quality ahead of the curve compared to the Nikkor Z 40mm f2.0. Now, one caveat I have that I don't like, and I also don't like it on the Nikkor Z lenses, we have here no rubber sealing. These lenses are just too affordable for Nikon to also donate to them a rubber sealing. And even the special edition lens does not have a rubber sealing. If you look here, there is really nothing which protects water not to intrude the place between the lens and the camera body. And the same is true here for the TTArtisan lens. If you look here, is a full metal construction, as I said, very high build quality, very well done, but no rubber sealing inside. And for me, this is always something which I can hardly accept when I shoot lenses in nasty weather conditions. And the camera body of the Nikon Z8, of course, is fully weather sealed, but if the lens is not weather sealed, water potentially could intrude here at the lens mount if there is no rubber sealing. So that is one point of criticism on that lens, but it applies also to the more expensive Nikkor Z 40mm f2.0 and its SE version. So that's probably the only point of criticism I have with respect to that lens. Otherwise, build quality, super cool, very well done. And the way this sits on the camera body, design, very well done. I think it's a good compact lens. And what I want to do now is quickly checking autofocus. And of course, I did shoot the lens already out in the field, but we have Jennifer here. We can do face and eye detection. And we will see in a moment that this is a very snappy, very fast, very accurate autofocus. Next, I want to quickly demonstrate the autofocus system here. Of course, that's primarily driven by the strong autofocus system of the Nikon Z8. But the lens plays its part. And I'm here on face detection and eye recognition. And you see Jennifer's eyes immediately picked up here. And I'm on 3D tracking. This also is very sticky in the way I'm used to with Nikon Z cameras and lenses on Jennifer's eye. So this works very well. Let's quickly switch into single autofocus because I want to show you how silent this lens really is. Let's go here to autofocus single. And if you look here, focus on Jennifer, focus on the background, focus on Jennifer, focus on the background. And I do this a couple of times now and let you try to hear, but you will hear nothing because this is absolutely silent. You hear it a tiny little bit, but this is absolutely suitable for videography. Maybe a couple of more points on specifications before I show you the sample images which I shot with that lens on the Nikon Z8. So first of all, the filter thread here is 52mm, so whatever filter you want to purchase, be it a UV filter, protector, ND filter, polar filter, it will not burn a deep hole into your wallet, which is good, of course. We have a maximum aperture, I don't think I mentioned that, of f16. Here you see it, that's an f16, widest open is an f2.0. And by the way, if you look here again, beautifully soft background bokeh. Absolutely nothing to complain. Look at that, nice rendering of the background. And that is good, of course. The optical construction is 9 elements in 6 groups. So it's also a sophisticated lens we have here in terms of optical construction. And all in a lens I can recommend based on the image quality I'm showing you in a moment. It's not behind the Nikkor Z 40mm f2.0, but it has this superior construction, this superior feature of an aperture ring with clicks. And that is something I always like. By the way, there is one more feature I need to mention here. This 40mm f2.0 lens from TTArtisan has a lens cap here, which actually has a USB-C port. And if we unmount this, you see the electronic contacts inside. You can use this for doing firmware updates of the lens, which you find on the website of TTArtisan. So even the lens cap here has a function, which I think is quite nice. I want to walk you through some sample images and want to start with 2 close-up shots here in order to show you how the background rendering works. And if you look here, that's where I had my focus sitting, very sharp. Very good. By the way, if you look at these leaves, contrast, micro contrast, absolutely fine. And if you look at the background, this is shot widest open at f2.0 and ISO of 100 is a very smooth background here. Looks really nice. Look at that. I think this is fine and I really like it. Here another one. The focus was sitting here on that berry. And the berry is sharp and in focus and everything else is rendered here in the background. Very soft. So separation of foreground and background, no problem at all if you shoot that lens at its widest open aperture of f2.0. Then I have a bunch of landscape shots here. These are all panoramic shots here in the greater Lake Zurich area. And I was really surprised to see how well this lens is playing with the camera. Look at that. This looks really good. Also at the horizon, the typical slightly hazy weather at Lake Zurich. By the way, here I have a sensor spot, which I need to remove. That's a different topic, of course. And in this area here, just at the horizon, is actually Zurich. This is Uetliberg here. Let's call it the house mountain of Zurich. And it looks good. It looks really fine. And I like the colors, like the contrast, like the micro contrast. Here, a couple of islands in front of a smaller city. At Lake Zurich is called Rapperswil here. If you have sharp eyes, you might spot here a little castle. And there are 2 islands here. One has some buildings on it. Very nice. It's of course fall season, autumn. And the lens is also very sharp. If you look at the rendering here, it looks really good. And I can continue in this way. Here we have the Swiss mountains in the background. Looks really good. Here again, the eye lens. Look at that. And look at the autumn colors here, how they come across. Very nice, I think. Here, a smaller village. I actually cropped in here already. Here, a restaurant on the top of a hill. Nice. Let's move on here. That was a backlight situation. So the sun was coming here from the left-hand side and shining right into my face. And then, of course, you have a very contrasty scene here. But it looks good. The lens actually handles backlight situations very well. Here the sun was sitting kind of in the middle of the frame, above the top side of the frame. And also here, this tree with silhouette looks actually quite good. I don't see any errors here the lens would produce. It looks fine. Another restaurant, here again, a Lake Zurich view. Zurich at the background, you see it indicated here. Of course, the resolution of the Nikon Z8 is not enough to give you more details here, but where we actually have details, they are nicely rendered in a very, very good way. Here again, fall atmosphere. It's autumn, of course. Here nicely, some reflections in the water. I actually cropped this image in here. Look at that. I like this a lot. Looks very nice, but then it's already cropped in, as you can see here on the crop dimensions in the upper left-hand side corner. And nice colors, nice contrast, nice micro contrast, nice sharpness. All in, this lens delivers, I think, in the same way as the Nikkor Z 40mm f2.0, the original one from Nikon. Just that we have here at the TTArtisan a much better build quality, and we have an aperture ring with clicks, which I typically like as a Leica shooter. Look here, looks good. Couple of more images, then I will close that session. I think I made my point. Here, someone who was biking and then taking a rest on this bench here. Is a nice view here towards the right-hand side. And you always have, of course, wherever you are in Canton Zurich and Canton Schwyz, you have the Swiss mountains in the background. And that is always a nice scenery. Here in the same way, a long road, a car coming here. Sharp, nicely captured, 1/640 seconds, shot at f8.0, ISO 100. And look at the rendering of the Swiss mountains here. Very nice. You can crop in, even at the resolution of the Nikon Z8, and you get a very clear image with a lot of information and a nice atmosphere carried over here in fall and autumn season. Alrighty, that's all I wanted to say and show. So we have here a $134 lens with a superior construction and build quality. And we have here the usual Nikkor Z 40mm f2.0, which is a great lens. I mentioned this a couple of times now. And the image quality, in my opinion, is at par. I don't think that this lens here is lagging behind. It's fully able to compete with its Nikkor Z competitors here. And I think if you are on a budget, if you really need to watch your wallet, then this is a great alternative to the Nikkor Z lenses here. It's a bit cheaper, but the construction is superior and you get an aperture ring with clicks, like I mentioned it before, in my ears, like the aperture ring on a Sony G Master lens. If you liked that video, don't forget to drop me a thumbs up. Stay tuned on my channel. There's always more to come. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy. And of course, peace out.